Hey, what's up, my people? How you doing? Welcome back again to this channel. And today I'm gonna be talking about my journey. Everybody's been asking about my journey, how I got to this place, the different struggles I went through. So today I'm gonna come with a special edition talking about me. So yep, it's all gonna be about me. So y'all just chill out and hear what I'm gonna say. So yeah, don't forget to always subscribe, like, comment, give suggestions. If you feel like you don't understand anything, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll obviously try to clarify myself. But stick around, and I shall see you very soon. Peace out. Hey, my people, welcome back again. Nice to know that you're still here. So if you're at this stage of the level, I know you're still watching and you're still interested. So today, as I mentioned, what I was going to be talking about, my journey. So how I'm going to do it is, my journey is pretty much split into two categories. There's the category of the knowledge, and there's the category of the self-belief. Right, I always tell people the first category is the most important category. It's about literally believing in yourself, in whatever you're doing. Be passionate about whatever you're doing. Back in ancient days, people call it the power of that subconscious mind. Whatever you say, whatever you envision, always try to bring it into reality. So I think most of the success with me, what I see, 60% of my success stems from this angle. I've always been somebody who's always been very motivated. Whenever I vision something, it always has to happen. That's how I've sort of programmed my mind. If I want something, because I've always been into property, I always loved property from watching Homes Under the Armour and all those programs, and I've always envisioned myself. When I'm sleeping, I always see myself in the property. I always see myself making deals, even though I had nothing. When I first started, I was a student, but the way I was talking to people is like, my passion, people could actually see I was already there. It's like I was already there. It was a passion which came from that, which sort of guided me and helped me throughout my whole journey to where I am now. So I always tell people, number one, be passionate, and believe in yourself. You can achieve anything you want to achieve. It all starts in your subconscious mind. The power of that subconscious mind. Back in the ancient days, people used to call it the treasure house. Anything you want, it all starts in your mind. You believe it, you say it. I always tell people, say it, believe it, be consistent with it, then receive it. A lot of people say it, believe it, receive it. But if you're not consistent with what you're saying, you will not receive it. So always say what you want to achieve. Believe it firmly. The more you believe it, you become consistent with it. Once you're consistent with it, eventually, no matter time, it will come to pass. That's the secret. Or for all of you guys who want to know about this, the book The Secret, it's all about that. And I'm a firm believer of that. So that's where I would say 60% of my success comes from, believing in myself, in whatever I need to achieve, regardless the circumstances, regardless how difficult it is, I know I will achieve. So that's number one, where pretty much the whole part of my journey. Number two, I think I will say I've always been somebody who's always been business orientated. I'm sure most of you guys, when I started my journey into, business entrepreneur, it was first I started off with Herbalife. I'm sure some of you guys must have heard of that product because I used to sell that product. It was a weight loss product for those who were having concerns with the weight. I was into Herbalife for about, I would say, about a year and a half. Whilst I was student, I was looking for something on the side because obviously I've always wanted to get into property. So I was looking for side hustle in order to help me gain capital for my deposit. So I was trying out different ventures because I've always been somebody who's been proactive. So the first thing I went into was Herbalife, selling products. It was good in terms of the success. However, I became a supervisor in the Herbalife community. For those who know how Herbalife community works, they will know what a supervisor is. So I was a supervisor in the Herbalife community. I had bought a lot of people. I have sold a lot of products. But I still wasn't really truly satisfied, because for me it was like I'm helping somebody else promote their business. Herbalife is, it's not my product. I'm buying it off them cheap and selling it in a good price that I can get profit out of. So it's like I'm eating off somebody else's pocket. And I wasn't really, even though the profit margin was alright, it wasn't wow, but it was alright. For there are some people who's literally attended that high level and they're getting really a lot of money out of it. But for me, I realized when I did the maths, it was gonna take a long process. I did already a year and a half, and things were just going slow, and you had to take a lot of effort organizing meetings, going in the street. You couldn't even advertise it online because it was from person to person. You could only sell it. There was a lot of barriers. So after that, I thought, you know what, I'll move on to something else. I left Herbalife, and then from that I went into gold and silver. So I was buying, I followed a lot of Robert Kiyosaki's advice, because what I do is my advice, it's pretty much my footstep is always following the leaders, following the rich people, how they do the moves they do, and I imitate it, because obviously I believe once you follow the successful people, you follow their footstep, you follow what they do, then you will become successful. So I always sit down and watch a lot of people like Robert Kiyosaki, people who gives good advice. So he's always into the millennial kind of period. He's always into gold and silver. So you know what? I thought, yep, I've gone into that. I think I've got quite a few gold. I've got silver, a lot of silver coins, literally coins. Quite a few ounces of silver. I own them, which is good. That's a long-term investment. It's not something that will create passive income. Is more something that the value grow over time. So I would advise people, if you want to get into gold and silver, it's good to have it think of it as a long-term investment, so that when silver price goes up, then you can make profit out of it. So I've still got a few of them. So once I went into gold and silver, I also went into, at this time I was almost qualifying from university. I had finished my nursing qualification. I had my first nursing job, and I went also into cryptocurrencies. For those who know I'm sure everybody by now should know what cryptocurrencies, because it's always out there. Everybody talks about cryptocurrencies, which I've made quite a few money from cryptocurrencies. Obviously, again, it's the same thing as gold and silver. Long-term investment. Don't think of it as a quick rich scheme kind of thing where you put your money and you think, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna get rich. No, it's something that you live for long term. So I've got quite a few cryptos. I've got Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and there's quite a few coins. I own quite a few virtual coins, cryptocurrency coins. So I've been in that. I'm currently still on there. Obviously that's a long-term investment, even though I'm not actively involved in the cryptocurrency world. Because what I tend to do is I invest in something, I put my money there, I completely forget about it, I move on to the next investment. I don't like to put one egg in one basket. I like to, diversify my business ventures. So the two major ventures was been gold and silver, and also cryptocurrencies, the two major successful ones. I also did BitConnect. BitConnect is a cryptocurrency, but they also had their own platform, which was an investment platform. They focused on compound interest. So you put money in there, and then every day that money is working for you. And even though that business went down, the BitConnect world completely shut down. Everything went bust. A lot of people, they were like, yeah, this and that, blah blah blah. They were all talking, but for me, I learned a lot from it. Even though the business went down, which was a shame, but I did learn a lot from the BitConnect community about compound interest, how compound interest work. And to be honest, this is what I use on my daily, investment plans. When I'm working on properties, all the profits I'm gaining, I put it back again in the market. So that's what compound interest. I make the money work for me. So I don't use the money. I take it and I put it back again into the business. And eventually, with time, you'll see a good sort of a good increase in terms of your profit. So obviously, whilst doing that, how I finally got my hands into property. Number one was also, the influence of the parents. My parents are the kind of people who literally grow you that you need to get into the property ladder. You can't be in this country, you went to uni and you're renting. Like, my parents are a firm believer that you need for you to have a good settled future, you need to secure a property. So for me, as soon as I finished uni, I've always thought, you know what, I need to try my best to get into the ladder. And obviously, if there are any nurses out there, they will know that, nurses don't make much money. That's just, let's just say, playing it out there so that you guys know, in case there's any students, they wanted to be a nurse because of money. There ain't no money in nursing. So obviously I qualified, I was happy, however, the difficulty was, I thought I was gonna get a lot of money, qualifying as a nurse. There isn't any money. So the money I was getting from nursing was pretty much just paying for my bills, rent, and where I was staying. It was just covering all of my daily living. There was no time for me to have enough money to save and to put a deposit. So what I needed to do again, look for something on the side. This is when I started watching a lot of Homes Under the Hammer. I fell in love with that program. I think that was like, something that really inspired me even more. So once I started watching Homes Under the Hammer, I thought, you know what, I need to get to this property business. I need to find a way. So I went to few training programs, property programs, and then I went to one in West London. I can't remember the name of the training. They were talking about rent to rent, and I was thinking, wow, this is my, for me, it was just like somebody just switched on the light, and I was thinking, how did I not know about rent to rent? Obviously, there were still questions at the back of my mind, is it legal, the legality of it? There was a lot of questions. But yep, I realized after doing much research, it is legal, just depending on how you're doing it. You can do it in the illegal way, which I wouldn't advise people, but there is a legal way. And it's all about transparency, being open and honest to the lenders, and also to the landlord. So I'm not gonna go really into rent to rent at the moment, but I got into rent to rent. I had only one deal. I managed to secure that deal. So what I was doing is I was paying, I think, about £900 a month to the landlord. And what I did is I was now renting out the rooms. I didn't do service accommodation back then because the knowledge of service accommodation, I didn't really gain that knowledge back then. I was mainly doing it for, student accommodation, renting out rooms. I think it was a 3-bedroom house, but I converted everything. Even the living room became a bedroom. This was back then, I think around 2013, 14. If I can't remember, yeah, around those times anyway. So I rented it, and I was getting quite good income out of it. Imagine in London, it was quite good. So I think after about 9 months to a year, I would say, I managed to get good, because what I was doing is the profit, I wasn't even touching the profit, because I knew my aim was to get into the property ladder. So what I needed to do is every money I was getting from this venture, putting it back out there. And I think at that time also I managed to sell a few of my coins, not the gold and silver, but the crypto, the virtual coins. At that time, Bitcoin was doing very well. Bitcoin was increasing in terms of the profit. So I had gained quite an amount of profit from Bitcoin. So I sold that coin, and obviously the profit, I added it to what I did with the rent to rent, and then that's how I managed to get my first deposit for a property. Now, there was difficulty, even people always think, yep, I've got my deposit, it's gonna be easy, everything's gonna be easy. It wasn't as easy for me because I grew up in London. All I knew was just London, I wasn't looking elsewhere. I mean, the amount of time I've been rejected, whew, boy, my feelings were really hurt back then. So I started off, looking at areas in London. I went to Neasden. I went to a lot of the property I was looking was around NW10, so Northwest London. I looked around North in Islington. I even went to Hackney. I was thinking, oh my goodness, even Hackney, an area like Hackney is rejecting me. What is wrong with me? Like, it just wasn't meant to be. I always believe everything happens for a reason, because the deal that I took after that was the most amazing deal. I always believe, everything happens for a reason, everything is planned out. You just have to go with the flow. Don't get disappointed, don't get discouraged about being turned down. I've been turned down so many times when looking for properties. I think I was turned down about 5 times. I started off with Northwest London. It was one of the new built properties. I didn't know much about new built and old built back then. I just wanted a house. I just wanted to get into the property ladder. I went there, spoke to the people who were selling the houses. Everything was fine. They were secured. Once the house finished building, I went there. I didn't meet the criteria. The deposit I had was not good enough, because the house price had increased. So I was no longer meeting the criteria, even though they had promised me that I had met the criteria. So I thought, all right, that's fine. I went to Hackney. I think it was 3-bedroom flat. I went there. I was about to buy the house. Again, I didn't meet the criteria. After looking around London, I decided to go to Luton. I saw this property, beautiful property in Luton. I wanted to go for it. It had, it was very big. It had like an underground bar. It was one of the dream places I wanted to have. So I started doing the paperwork. I was in the middle of the paperwork. Somebody came, boom, and bought it cash. A cash buyer came, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do right now? Like, my world is just shutting down. I will never get this property. So I kind of went off properties for a while. I didn't continue. It was later on, one of the estate agents contacted me and said there's a property in Milton Keynes if you want to go and view. It's a good area. At that time I was thinking, Milton Keynes, damn, I swear that's for retired people. Like, do young people even live in Milton Keynes? So I was having a lot of questions, but I thought, you know what, let me broaden my search. Let me not just be narrow-minded and focus in one area. Let me go and check it out. I might like it. So I remember at that time I was working. I sent my older brother to go and check it out for me, because he used to live around Bedford or near Milton Keynes area. So he went, viewed the property. He really fell in love with it. Took pictures and everything, sent it to me. He's like, Joe, you need to secure this property ASAP. It's got potentials. It's 4-bedroom. It's got a garage. You can do so much to it. And I know my brother knows about properties. So I was like, you know what? I saw the pictures. We researched the area. The area was good. I had met the criteria. In terms of with the deposit that I had, with my credit scoring, everything was fine. So yeah, that's how I started. I negotiated the price, because I think at that time the property was quite expensive. So I managed to buy it below market value, which was good, because the sellers was quite desperate. That's the key thing. Always look for desperate sellers, because when they're desperate, they will accept any offer. So the sellers was quite desperate. They wanted to move to a different country. So I managed to just put below market value, put a good price there. They accepted the price, and that's how I got into my first property. And then I stayed in that first property for like 3 years. And then how I now use that property to make money again, lodgers, equity. I'm going to discuss about equity in a different video, because equity is a whole different variety. It's a whole different topic, how you can make huge money through equity. That's why I don't understand when people out there, they're complaining. I posted one of the videos, some people were talking about, renting, how, you shouldn't buy a house, you should rent. In my mind, I'm thinking, are these people thinking? How can you prefer to rent than own a house? It just makes no sense at all. With owning a house, you can get money through leveraging, through equity. There is so much ways you can literally make huge amount of money. Whereas in renting, you will never make money. You're pretty much living your life paying somebody else to make money. it makes no sense. It literally makes, there is no comparison of whatsoever at all. Literally, for me, I just find it really, really stupid how somebody can encourage one to rent rather than own a property. It just literally makes no sense. It's like comparing 100 million naira to £1,000,000. That's literally the difference. You think, oh my gosh, £1,000,000 naira is a lot of money. After Nigerians, they will tell you that ain't no money. Literally. So for me, I just find it insane, really, how people compare these kind of topics. But each to their own. You know, some people renting is for them. You know, that's fine. You know, I'm not gonna go into that. If that suits you, stick with it, boo boo. But for me, I don't like renting. I like to own. That way I have freedom. I can create passive income from owning property. I can make money through leveraging. I can make money through equity. I can pass it down to my future generation, to my kids. There is so much, like, it's crazy. But yeah, so that's how I got into it, and then from then on I just started obviously getting more money from equity, refinancing. There is a lot of different strategy, but I don't want to go into that as for yet. But for now, that's how I managed to get into the property ladder. My first property, that was my journey. Let me know what you think of my journey, if it was good, if it was bad, if you experienced this same journey or different circumstances. Just let me know. Comments below, like or subscribe. It's up to you guys, but be active. Peace out.